Pop, 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 pass the popcorn. 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 Pass the popcorn.
Hello and welcome back to Pass the Popcorn. My name is Brennan Klein. I have here with me I'm going to start with Carrie because why not? Casual moviegoer, Carrie Jarasinski. Hi, Carrie.
Hello.
I also have the critic in residence, Tim Brayton. Hello, Tim.
Hello.
And considering that I have ousted Rob from his seat, I made him last. The film school dropout, Rob Jarasinski. Hi, Rob.
Greetings. And Brennan, I don't know if you know, I wanna reiterate this because I feel like I dropped some gold in our alternate ending Discord, which I recommend everybody joining for good chats. But I dropped something and I don't feel like it got the proper virility of getting hype about your title that I came up with. And I feel like this is the time since we have more of a captive audience. I feel like you should inaugurate you with your new title.
Okay, here's the thing. I have qualms about it. I like the joke. You dubbed me the Colonel of Pass the Popcorn. First of all, I don't love being associated with the military. Second of all, I don't know that the pun plays when it's not written.
I will say for my own relationship with this pun, I only just this instant got it. I just thought Rob was misspelling the military rank of colonel.
My only question is, what is it going to take for Rob to butter you up on it?
Nice.
Hey.
I don't know. I think we need to feel it out because
it's a work in progress.
Mm-hmm. I know one thing that I pitched during a meeting that we had was resident millennial, but I realized that at least Tim is also a millennial by the rules.
I am also the oldest person associated with this site, so therefore every one of us is a millennial in this current.
Yeah, despite Rob's hairline and my gray hair, we're actually younger than Tim. So.
Well, I have, because you two are more discreet, I had no idea what your birth years might possibly be. I know Tim's birth year specifically.
I'm 83, so I think I fall in am I?
You're 83 years old?
Yeah, I know it appears that way. That's just my life. But I think I'm what is it? I'm in that like weird.
An exennial?
I'm an exennial where I like caught lightning bugs. I also caught ladybugs. But I experienced life before technology, but I also have an appreciation for its benefits.
Wait, did millennials not catch lightning bugs?
I don't know what reference this is, Carrie.
I read a whole thing about me and It was like, I still have an appreciation for the simpler times. Like I used to play in the
you used
yard.
to roll a hoop with a stick.
Yes. I used to do like a pogo stick in the driveway for hours. So I have that attention span.
I used to throw blocks of wood in a small puddle in my yard made by the sump pump and say that they were fish. So I actually literally played not that more advanced than the hoop with a stick level of make your own fun isms.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing.
And yeah, but here's the thing, because I think technically a Zennial, because I was born in 94, which means I was not old enough to watch Friends when it aired, but I do remember 9/11.
Interesting.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
These are interesting, just like lines that we've drawn as far as
I find my head is getting a little spinny just trying to keep track of all of these things.
I know, but I'm telling you right now, Brennan did not do the sticks in the puddle for sure.
Right.
He also did not catch bugs in jars. 100% chance of that.
Well, I grew up in California, so it would have just been like gnats or flies, and nobody wants that.
Fair.
Wait, are there not regionalism for whatever word one uses, fireflies, lightning bugs? Do they not have those in California?
No, I've never seen a firefly.
What a wretched, dismal state.
Yeah. It's key to the
we
success
have,
of
I don't know, seagulls.
We have seagulls.
Do you have rattlesnakes?
Thank the good Lord. Actually, yes, we have pygmy rattlesnakes.
Yeah.
Well,
you've been missing out, Brennan. You're missing out.
Well, we have the Kardashians.
All right. I do think, though, getting back to the question of are there these generational lines? I think there is an important line to be drawn. Were you someone who used the internet when you were in high school? Had you already used the internet when you were in high school, or did the internet come to your life when you were in high school, or did it not come to you until after high school? I think that's actually a very important sort of generational divide. Although I tend to think a lot of it otherwise is just a big old marketing hoo-ha.
I think you could start playing that sound effect of the like, or wait, that's not it. I'm not doing it right.
I'm trying to do AOL right now.
Yeah, I was trying to.
I know what you're talking about, but you also
Made it sound
I don't know what it is, but it sounds sexy.
It did sound a little more sexy than I wanted it to. But if you know that dial-up sound, that's also our generation for sure.
Yeah, it's where you had to call a clown and he would put the internet together.
Exactly.
No, I had that in my life for at least a year or two when I was a kid, but I definitely had internet pre-high school.
Lines have been drawn.
Yep, that's fair.
Right.
I agree with where those lines are because I also did not have internet in high school. Like, I mean, I had AOL chat. Like, that was it. It wasn't the internet as we know it today.
I still have my same handle.
Yes, you do.
I do.
I'm really glad to hear that.
What is it? Is it like
we can't
Princess
say because
Care Bear?
it's also all of Carrie's passwords. So it's like it's not gonna. It's
So,
not,
So that's not to say it out loud.
yeah,
Probably not.
username and password equals the same thing for Carrie.
I will. The
That
only thing.
is the height of internet security. I'm very pleased.
No one needs my information. The only thing I'll say about it is it actually is like it's actually a sexy username,
Oh,
but it was not intentional. I was trying to have parody in like balance in it. So I do use the word bear in a naked way. And
I just got that joke.
Yeah.
Okay, sure,
Wait.
sure.
a naked. How do you use a word in a naked way?
Like
Oh,
the
B-A-R-E.
B-A-R-E.
Yes.
Got it.
But 10-year-old me was not thinking about nudity. And so I used to get a lot of weird messages. And I probably
Oh my
should
God.
I should rethink it.
I don't even want to talk about movies anymore. I just want to now hear this story for the next hour.
It's for another time. This is a movie podcast, but I will share more of my 10-year-old mistakes on a separate episode.
Please.
Tim, did you ever have an embarrassing early handle?
I never used the chats.
Okay.
I was from a very early age extremely technophobic, and it never went away. So I did not use the AI, the AOL or the ICQ or any of those things.
Oh, you struck me as an ICQ user. That was like
No.
I won't say the word I'm thinking, but like there was a group of people that used ICU.
So remember how I like regularly used our A&E our AE Discord for what, about 10 days? Was I a
good
reliable
stretch.
user
Yeah.
on
It
the
was a
site?
good
I
stretch.
think
Like
that's
7.
generous.
Generous. I think it's generous. Yeah.
It still represents by far the most concentrated and long-lasting burst of time I spent in any sort of chat environment in my whole life.
You came out strong the first day, and then it just
You
sort
know,
of dwindled.
And
from
then I
there.
was like, oh, right, that's why I don't do this. And then I stopped.
I see.
Well, anyway, another thing that we do besides talk about the internet is the worth mentioning segment. So I know y'all kind of measure kind of based on when the last episode was, but we had an extra Oscars episode. But I guess since the last kind of episode where it was just the three of you, how many movies have you watched? I guess since your top 5 episode that you just did.
Yeah, let's just make it easy on ourselves. Let's say in the last 7 days. 'Cause
Yeah.
That's what I'm prepared for.
And I'll have
Great.
I can go first as Polish Bob because nobody asked my handle.
Oh gosh, I thought that was Polish Bob. I thought that you were like.
Oh, I guess it is the same. It also has some sort of like other meaning then, doesn't it?
Does it? Did you
Yeah.
get weird messages?
I also
too?
got weird messages.
Okay.
I love it.
I'm pretty sure. No, you watched an extra movie, Carrie. I think so. I've watched 4 movies since we last got together. Marry Me in theaters, Uncharted in theaters. We revisited Enchanted with the kids, and then by Patreon request of Jack Chivers, we also caught The Long Good Friday, which I had never heard about.
So many questions.
I probably. And then we've also been spending a lot of time watching Peacemaker, and I know that this is like technically a film podcast, but I would love to talk a little bit about Peacemaker. But I think I'll probably bring Uncharted and a little Peacemaker in the mix.
Okay. And
Sounds good.
I'm going to copy paste what you just said, Rob. And then I also watched that movie with I Want You Back. I watched that by myself. So
It's called I Want You Back. It's not with anything.
yeah, I don't know. I don't even know what happened to that. I don't even think I want to bring that. You reviewed it. I don't think I want to bring that. But I was going to bring the Patreon movie with the guy that's in there. What's the guy's name? I've already forgotten.
Bob Hoskins.
Bob Hoskins. I want to talk about Bob Hoskins a lot. So I'm going to bring that movie.
I mentioned this in our Patreon lens, and we'll get to it more in the Long Good Friday, but when you IMDb Bob Hoskins, it's his number one. Like, it's the thing that pops right to the top. And I was like,
that surprises me.
Yeah, I would have thought Roger Rabbit for sure.
I would have thought Roger Rabbit outweighing everything else combined.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I don't know what algorithm IMDb is using, but yeah, bit of a surprise.
I do think they go with like amount of clicks in a recent span. So maybe there's a renaissance for the Long Good Friday.
I think
it was, if I'm not mistaken, expiring from the Criterion channel, or just showed up on the Criterion channel in the last 30 days. So that might have been part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe you went to that IMDb at the exact right moment for that to happen. The solar eclipse of the Long Good Friday. And for my movies, I counted from the time we recorded the Oscars thing, just because this is the second episode of this I've done. But I watched Nightmare Alley, Tall Girl 2, which I reviewed on the site, Kimmy, which Tim reviewed on the site, the new Texas Chainsaw, the original Texas Chainsaw, I Want You Back, and Annie from 1999.
I hope you're bringing Annie.
1999, you said.
I hope you're bringing Annie. So wait,
that is the one that I'm bringing.
You haven't seen that, Annie?
I haven't seen that. It's not. You're not talking about the one with Daddy Warbucks with the little.
That is a character.
It's that one. It's just a different adaptation of that one.
Oh,
yeah, it's just not the John Huston, Carol Burnett one, or the one with Kavanjane Wallace.
I see. Now I don't know. I'm not sure.
You know, it's interesting, Brennan. We do this, bi-weekly, and I'm always curious. Like, are Carrie and I the low benchmark for movie watching? And it turns out we are.
Yeah.
You've watched quite a few films since we last got together.
What about you, Tim? How many have you seen?
Well, I have seen 8 features and 3 Charlie Brown specials since we last recorded. Of those 8 features, 4 of them were new watches and 4 of them were re-watches. I've thrown myself into the task of binging my way all the way through the Pixar filmography. So a lot of those 4 were just Pixar re-watches. But of the 4 that were new to me, they would include Kimmy as well, which, as Brennan said, there's a review on the site. Death on the Nile, of which there's a review on the site. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, of which there's a review on the site, and an actually Patreon request, Teacher's Pet, a 2004 Disney film. So that's the one I'm going to be bringing to the table.
So you and I are bringing some wild Disney shit today. But also, okay, so the Pixar thing, are you doing that in anticipation of Turning Red, the same way you did the kind of pre-Encanto?
Exactly. Turning Red is the 25th Pixar feature. And it seemed like the right thing to do.
Yeah, it does seem like the right thing to do. Well, you know what? How about we start with you with Teacher's Pet? Because I've never heard of this movie.
Never heard of it.
What it is.
Same.
So the film Teacher's Pet, which I owe to Patreon Harold Bleacher. So thank you, Harold, for putting this in my path. This is, so to start with, it is the series finale to a Disney television series, Teacher's Pet, that aired from, I believe, 2000 to 2002, produced not all that many episodes. I was actually surprised when I looked and I saw that it was only in like the 40s. But so a couple of years after that went off the air, the writers and creators and director Timothy Bjorklund of that series had an opportunity to continue the story, or sort of resolve the story. I actually thought it was the other way around. I thought that the film, which was theatrically released, was the series premiere. So I didn't realize until afterwards, and it seemed very weird because it seemed to be resolving a lot of conflicts. But either way, Teacher's Pet is sort of writ large the story of a little dog named Spot, who desperately wishes to be a human boy. And to this end has taken to disguising himself as a human named Scott and sneaking into the 4th grade class of his. That's kind of the hook of the overall series. The particular movie from 2004 is that Spot has just learned of a mad scientist based in Florida named, one second, I have that in front of me, named Dr. Ivan, I believe, Ivan Crank. And this doctor Crank in Florida has perfected a method for turning animals into humans. And so Spot is very excited because he believes he's finally going to get to be turned into a real boy. There's a lot of Pinocchio references. And it just so happens that right as he learns this, Leonard's mother, who is also the fourth grade teacher, has just been made a finalist in the National Teacher of the Year contest, which is also being held in Florida. So he sneaks his way down to Florida with them, and they get into shenanigans because it turns out that Dr. Crank's method for turning animals into humans really turns them into grotesque human-animal hybrids, and turns Spot himself into an ugly 40-something-year-old man because he is not a young dog, and he didn't really sort of figure that part out until it was too late. So that's kind of the plot, such as it is. The focus of the thing is just kind of on this constant comic vibe. It's very, very fast moving. The entire film with credits is 74 minutes long. So we all know that of course made me super, super happy because I like short movies. But within that 74 minutes, you get just like constant new material churning in. Like it's very, very quick moving. The scenes are sort of all very punchy, short comic bits. So it's just this kind of overall feeling of just like a wave of action happening at you. But even more so than that, what really is like the star of the film here is the style, which, so the style for the series and the film were set by the artist who designed the like art elements for the game Cranium, which I imagine is a game everyone here has at least heard of.
Yeah,
the board game.
The board game, yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely pick up. I'm looking at stills of Teacher's Pet, and I definitely get a sense of that in the drawing.
That's sort of where I bring it up, because you get that very like Cranium-esque sort of weird round shapes and very unreal colors. Like Scott is just, not Scott. Leonard is just completely bone white. Like he is perfectly white, no coloring at all. Some of his classmates are yellow, like a sort of ochre color. Some are green, like a sea foam green. So there's these very unreal colors, these very round shapes, these kind of grotesque character designs, in a way that feels sort of indebted to like the 30s animation of the Fleischers, but also seems a little bit more modern than that. Like it's almost looking forward to things like Adventure Time as much as it's looking back to the Fleischers. So very, very cool style. Probably the most interestingly designed piece of animation I've ever seen out of Disney Toon Studios / Walt Disney Television Animation. And also the animation itself is doing it. I'm not typically a big fan of Walt Disney television animation. I think it's this weird combination of too much polish and too little money. And I think Teacher's Pet does a really good job of kind of squaring that circle and using its limited means to really make those weird, exaggerated caricatures move in a sort of cool, like choppy way that really works for them. So it's just this wild thing to look at. Really, really terrific, committed vocal cast. Nathan Lane is the dog Spot. Kelsey Grammer is the mad scientist. Jerry Stiller and David Ogden Stiers play a bird and a cat who live in a house with the dog and are sort of very angry at him all the time. So everyone's just giving everything they've got to it. It's a whole lot of movie. Like it's, even at 74 minutes less, 7 minutes for the credits, it wore me down. Like it's so much stimulation. And by the end of it, I was like, I'm tired of this movie, not like in a bored way, but in a like, this movie has literally overstimulated my brain and my brain needs to like go into a quiet room to cool down now for a bit. But had never seen it, had always heard really good things. It had unusually strong reviews for one of these sort of cheap Disney films. And again, it's not Disney feature animation, it's Disney television animation. I think the last Disney television animation feature to be released in theaters, in fact. So I'd always had it on my radar, never quite gotten around to it, but it's super cool. It's super weird. It certainly kept my eyes going the whole time. Like I never stopped paying attention to what the hell is going on in the style. So thank you, Harold, for throwing this in my path. Really, really again, it's a lot of movie, but it's a good kind of a lot of movie.
You keep saying that, and I keep waiting for you to say, I really liked it, or I really didn't like it. And you just keep saying, it was just a lot of movie. So did you like it?
I don't know. That's why I haven't responded. I gave it 3.5 stars on Letterboxd.
That's what I was wondering too, what your rating was. Okay. So you're still overwhelmed and processing whether or not you liked it. I'm
still overwhelmed. It felt like if you ate a whole thing of candy, like you get a candy heart for Valentine's Day, and it's got like 30 truffles in it, and you eat all 30 of them in one sitting, and someone comes in and say, did you enjoy that chocolate? Did you? I don't know. I'm about ready to start barfing up chocolate, but I'm glad I ate it.
That's a great analogy.
It's sad because it sounds like it never really found its audience based on the box office.
It bombed. It had a very low budget and was not able to make it back theatrically.
Well, good. That's Teacher's Pet, right?
Teacher's Pet.
Yeah, that sounds fascinating.
Currently available on Disney Plus, although because I do not financially support Disney, I financially supported Amazon by renting it on Amazon.
What a choice. There is no ethical consumption.
Hey.
But yeah, I also watched my worth mentioning movie on Disney Plus, which is 1999's iteration of Annie, which I learned existed the same day that I sat down with my boyfriend Ben to watch it. Because we were talking about, there is a sequel to the 80s Annie, quote unquote sequel, called Annie, A Royal Adventure! !
You're fucking with me right now.
Wow.
I'm not. The thing that really upsets me is that it's not a musical. But apparently it follows Joan Collins trying to blow up Buckingham Palace, which sounds really good to me. But the thing is, he was talking about how as a kid, he watched this movie that came out in 94, and he thought it was a sequel to the Annie that he watched, which is the 99 Annie, as opposed to the 80s Annie, which he'd never seen. There's a whole Annie universe that I was just really unaware of. But yeah, so basically, that one is evidently as much of a sequel to any Annie as any other one, because it's all completely recast everyone. But we sat down to watch the 99 Annie, which was like his version of it. It's technically a TV movie from the wonderful world of Disney. It was directed by Rob Marshall, who everybody loves and is great at musicals, full stop.
I don't know who he is. So what other one does he do that I would know?
Tim, which great Rob Marshall musical met Carrie?
Well, he directed the Oscar-winning Best Picture Chicago.
Haven't seen that.
He also directed the non-musical film Memoirs of a Geisha, as well as the musicals Nine, which is, I think, probably the most well-regarded musical adaptation of the 21st century, and Into the Woods, the film that does a very good job of translating the Sondheim musical into cinema.
Yes, I was being sarcastic. People really, really don't like Rob Marshall.
Oh.
Didn't he do Mary Poppins Returns also?
He did also do Mary Poppins Returns. I think he is singularly bad at directing musicals. I think he has like a particular anti-facility for it, which makes it particularly distressing that he gets to do so many of them.
Yes, and he has another big one coming up, I think.
I bet he does.
But anyway, so the thing about the 1999 Annie is that it is a gobsmackingly good cast for Annie. We have Kristen Chenoweth is in the picture. We have she's the like a supporting character. Victor Garber is Daddy Warbucks in a bald cap that is both terrifying and kind of hot. We also have Audra McDonald as Daddy Warbucks' assistant, and their instinct is to give her as much to sing as possible, which is the right instinct.
It is.
Alan Cumming is in it as the scammer brother, and he's terrific. And the thing that's kind of disappointing to me, and the reason that I wanted to watch it in the first place, is that Miss Hannigan is played by Kathy Bates, and I thought that was really terrific casting. I do not think that she sparkles as much as I think she could have, which I do blame on Rob Marshall, having no evidence to the contrary. I think that if Ryan Murphy had directed this, Kathy Bates would have given the performance that I wanted, but it would not have been good still. And yeah, so Rob Marshall also, he's directing the new Little Mermaid that's coming up, the live action Little Mermaid. That's what he's up to.
Ooh, I don't know how I feel about that.
I feel terrible about it. I feel super bad about it.
Outside of The Lion King, Carrie, you haven't which I think is up for debate whether that was
I
good.
watched and Beauty and the Beast.
Right. I'm saying that
Oh.
you have not cared for any live action reboot. Aladdin.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I feel like it's just leave it be. Just leave it alone. So yeah, I don't know. Except for that Lion King, which was pretty good.
No, Carrie.
I would also, to the greater question of the live action Little Mermaid, I would say that casting Ursula is easy.
Wait, who's
And
Ursula
they
going
fucked
to
it
be?
up.
Wait, who is it going to? Wait, who
Should have been
Kathy?
Kathy Bates. Why not have Kathy Bates
Okay.
do it for as an example?
It's correct me if I'm wrong, Brennan. I believe it's going to be Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Oh.
And it's like Queen Latifah's still alive. Like,
yeah. Well,
like
yeah.
why would you have any other person be Ursula?
And Melissa McCarthy's, I don't see her. Yeah, she's just like a fluff. Like she's so like happy and peppy.
Here's basically my thing. Visualize Melissa McCarthy singing Poor Unfortunate Souls.
Yes.
And if you can do that, you will have a much richer imagination than I do.
Yeah. No, I can't. This is so upsetting. This is like the worst news I've heard in a long time. So who are they casting as Ariel? This could get more upsetting.
A Disney newcomer named Halle Bailey.
I don't know how I feel about that either. I guess I feel better about you telling me that than if you were to say
Daveed Diggs is Sebastian, I believe.
Daveed Diggs is I don't even. How do you have a live action crab played by a? So
Well,
what's happening?
he'll be an animated effect.
Yeah, think about Lion King.
Okay, but those were really realistic. So maybe they'll pull it off. So he's doing the voice of that. Who's King Triton?
Javier Bardem.
Ooh.
Oh, that one's new to me. That's dumb.
He
Also
did
dumb.
play a ghost pirate in that Caribbean movie.
He did play a ghost pirate, but we have drifted away from
Sorry,
Annie.
Brennan.
Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
Yes, Annie.
So Annie in this case is played by introducing Alicia Morton, who and saying goodbye to Alicia Morton because she didn't really do anything else. The thing that's really upsetting, it's like, look, I don't have a lot of affection for Annie. It's a very shrill musical, even though a lot of the songs are very well known, and it's always kind of fun to see someone's rendition of them, even though I don't love a lot of them. But the thing that they do is she has red hair, but it's just kind of like a normal human being that was born with red hair, and then it's straight and kind of slicked back against her head, and it's just
What?
Annie needs to look like Ronald McDonald's illegitimate daughter, or else it's not Annie.
She has to have my grandmother's hair. It has to be a dome, tight perm. That's like, I mean, in this case, maybe not with like the bald spots, but like tight perm that just sort of was like a helmet around her head. Otherwise, it just doesn't work at all.
I want to know everybody's favorite iteration of Annie, but then I also have a confession to make, I'm curious if everybody's favorite version of Annie is the 80,
I still have a
82.
hot
Okay.
product in my cup, so you better just watch out on this
Is
one.
it the John Huston one for everybody?
Of course.
For me, it's
Hello?
the one Brennan just watched. I don't like the John Huston film even a teeny tiny bit.
Oh,
To be clear, I don't think
deeply
this one is
offensive.
very good, but I think it's by far the best version of the three films of Annie.
that's just like not factual at all in any way. Brennan, back me up.
I also
Back
think
me
it's
up.
by far Rob Marshall's best film, as a matter of fact.
For me, it's kind of like the choosing the lesser of three evils, but I by a hair prefer the Kamanjane Wallace one, but just because I love seeing Rose Byrne on screen any opportunity I can get.
Wait, which one did he choose? I'm still unclear. Which one is
That's
that?
the 2014 one.
Yeah.
So this is a room
All
divided.
right, ready for this?
And
God.
I will also say, well, Rob, go ahead, because I think I know what Rob's going to say. But please.
My favorite Annie is the 1969 Pippi Longstocking.
Boom.
I don't even
Wait,
get
did you
it.
know I was going to say that, Tim?
No, I thought you were going to say you've never seen Annie, period.
It's based. I mean, I've seen Annie, but every time I think of Annie, I think about my love of the 1969 Pippi Longstocking, because isn't it the same setup?
It's pretty goddamn close.
And I love Pippi Longstocking.
You're saying right now in a public forum that you like Pippi Longstocking more than Annie.
Yes, I do.
If I had known that was an option, I would have gone that direction.
Well, because again, Annie is kind of this nuclear saccharine sack of shit.
I will also say part of the reason why I give the nod to the 1999 film of the 1982 film, John Huston hated the song Tomorrow, which one would assume would be a disqualification for directing a film based on that musical. or really being John Huston should have disqualified him from making any musical. But he hated Tomorrow, and deliberately tried to ruin it by changing its context and not giving it a full orchestration and not staging a number to it. And it's like, it's Annie. If Tomorrow doesn't work, did the show work?
Yeah. Also, it continues to be wild to me that the functional plot character at the end who's like, Annie, your parents, whatever, is FDR.
That's good. And I don't think that you should talk about that like it's bad.
No, that's not bad. It's just perplexing. And I don't mind things being perplexing, but it's the weirdest fucking thing.
I forgot about that. That was kind of weird. That was a little weird. I don't know if I should rewatch it, actually. The more I'm thinking about it, I don't know if I should rewatch it, but we'll see.
I will, just to wrap things up and bring things full circle, since you started, Brendan, by telling us about the cinematic sequel to Annie. Just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware that there are, in fact, 2 theatrical sequels to Annie.
Wait, what? Well, tell me more.
There was, both of them died off Broadway. Neither one of them I ever.
Oh, you mean like the theater, the
yes. There are 2 stage musicals that are both sequels to Annie by the same creative team. One is the 1988, I believe, Annie 2, Miss Hannigan's Revenge.
Seriously?
Yes.
Just call it Annie's.
Also would work. That one has completely sunk away from all, like, that has been forgotten entirely. There was a much better received but still financially unsuccessful 1993 off-Broadway production of a show called Annie Warbucks.
Did they get married?
I hope not. That would be gross as shit.
Really creepy.
Really bad. I don't like that at all. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
I assume she was adopted.
Hopefully.
That doesn't make sense.
Let's not think about this anymore. Let's purge this. Let's purge this from our brains. Let's jump onto a better movie.
I'm saying if it's a sequel, she's probably older. She's probably like 12.
Speaking of being 12, are you gonna go?
Yeah, my 12-year-old self took Carrie and her parents to see Uncharted, which is the number one box office. I think it's brought in 45 million estimated.
Maybe. How did you lure me into seeing this, Rob?
I said Tom Holland. What did I say?
It's just like Indiana Jones.
Oh, I said it's basically Indiana Jones.
Asshole.
But realistically, my baseline expectation was that maybe it could be just like as like a John Turteltaub National Treasure 2, even like if it was that plus Mark Wahlberg and Tom Holland, like that, I would be okay with that. Unfortunately, Uncharted 2, which is the video game adaptation of Nathan Drake come to in real life, Tom Holland playing the titular character there. Mark Wahlberg was supposed to play it years ago, but then now is playing the old man, Sully. And then it's directed by Ruben Fleischer.
Mark Wahlberg in the year of our Lord 2022 would be better casting as Nathan Drake than Tom Holland would, FYI.
Yes.
This is a player for the game.
I've never, so that's a good point. I've never played the game, so I have no expectations. All I want is a treasury heisty movie, and it delivered, I guess, a little bit, but the action is subpar. Like the hand-to-hand combat is just not there at all. Like part of the fun is the National Treasure aspect of like piecing together the clues, and the clues here are stupid.
Yeah, the clues are very bad.
The chemistry between Holland and Wahlberg is there, but I don't think it's been properly used by Fleischer. And then they have a bunch of like side characters and villains that just don't work for me. Sophia Ali, I don't know what she's doing there really. Like I don't get her purpose as a character. And then Toddy Gabrielle, who plays Braddock, is kind of the main villain along. Don't know what, I didn't quite buy her. And then the one I did buy that I enjoyed, who steals, I think, every scene he's in, is Antonio Banderas, just always having a good time in whatever he's in. But yeah, I probably am at 2.5. Like it was a good fun popcorn movie, but like absurd.
We laughed at the banter.
There was some good
between the two of them for sure. Like they catch you, it'll catch everybody. You're like, oh, it's funny. But like Rob said, the heist itself was so weak of like, and again, now you should never have made that comparison because now as I'm watching it, I'm like waiting for the, like I'm waiting for him to go like push a wall, like the mermaid boobs on the wall so that he can go behind. And it's like, that never happens. And basically he had these like keys that he's carrying around and it would be like the reveal is like, he'd look down at the keys and it's like, if I glue them together, it becomes one key. And now it became the portal to like everything he needed. It was like it was one of those universal keys, or whatever that you can get. So it's like, oh, now I've got this double cross thing. I guess I'll go in here and here. Like it was just.
Yeah, somehow they took the
absurdity
absurdity of National Treasure and like having all of the locations of where these things exist. They took it like 10 steps further, and it's like now I just can't. Like with National Treasure, I could suspend my disbelief. Like there's so much in here that was just absurd, and like I didn't care.
Yeah. And it didn't help that my parents, like Rob said, we were with my parents, and this is the first movie that they've really been out to, other than going to Marry Me with my mom in 2 years.
Oh, no.
It showed.
Oh, no.
Like my dad is just literally over there like, Kay, what are you saying, Kay? I can't hear you. Like talking like really loudly. And I'm like uncomfortable, but I also want them to have a good time. So I like, my mom then was also like whispering to me, like relaying things from my dad. So like, Dad needs another drink, and then I was like, trying to politely like whisper back like, okay, I'll run out and get it, to like send a message like we're in the theater, but it like wasn't hitting. So my dad's just like, okay, my seat's broken, I can't get the seat up, and I'm just like, like we need to warm up, I think, to theaters again.
I think you should have taken him to like a film that had no audience. You should have brought him to like, I don't know, King's Daughter or something, just to get him revved back into the movie.
I don't know. But they kind of were into it. I don't know.
It sounds like you should just go to the movies alone from now on.
Yeah.
I know. And make my own calls. Because again, I'm throwing this FYI to the world out there. This is not Indiana Jones in any sort of way.
I mean,
leave those people behind in your life.
It is clear to me from the trailer that it is not sufficiently Indiana Jones. I mean, Tom Holland is he's a scrawny little twink.
Yeah.
He ain't Indiana Jones.
Although he's actually, he bulked for this for sure. But I
feel like if you put him on steroids for 5 years, he would still not have enough muscle mass to sell me as action.
Bulk is a generous term. It's not bulk. He's just very fit. And like he's a training montage.
Do you think he's like, when he's in the scene, he's sort of like pushing up his bicep to enhance it?
He just had some gummies right before.
For a pump.
Yeah, for get his pump on.
I actually thought he was okay in this.
He's fine.
Yeah.
Him and Wahlberg are fine. Like, could have had some better writing.
Closer to Spider-Man than it is Indiana Jones, and that's a solid take.
I feel bad for Tim because it's number one. You're
Enjoy,
going
Tim.
to have to see it.
Yeah. Enjoy.
Well, better than Dog being number one.
I don't know. If you're going to give me 2 hours of looking at Tom Holland or 2 hours of looking at Channing Tatum, and in both cases, I don't want to be there for the script, I'd rather look at Channing Tatum for those 2 hours.
Fair. That's actually very fair.
Point.
Yeah, that's very fair.
But just before we close out this, better or worse than Jungle Cruise?
That's so funny. I was going to make the comparison to Jungle Cruise because of the kind of the legacy that is tied to this, the history. I prefer Jungle Cruise personally.
Same for me. Like equal, I would say.
Equal to or worse than Jungle Cruise. That is a bleak review.
Again, enjoy, Tim. Enjoy.
Thank you. So excited.
So
I accidentally ended up with a copy of Jungle Cruise on 4K because I forgot to cancel it from the Disney Movie Club, and by the time I was like, I should return this, I had missed the window. So now I own Jungle Cruise, and I'm really sad.
I'll take it. I'll take that.
I will happy Christmas. You can have my copy of Jungle Cruise.
It's a regift, but you'll still take it. You'll still take it. Alrighty. So I'm going to go in and do a terrible job. And I'm sorry in advance, Jack, that I'm going to do a terrible job because I actually don't really know what happened in this movie that you bestowed upon us. So Rob and I caught The Long Good Friday. I'd like to clarify in advance, Brennan or Tim, have you guys seen this movie?
I have.
I have not.
You have not. Okay. Tim, I would love to know before I jump into this, where are you on this movie?
It's been many years, but I really liked it.
That seems like what you would say, because I'll
I'm so sorry. I feel like you just told me exactly what you thought about this movie.
No, I don't. So I'll tell you my best comparison after I watched this was I felt the exact same way as I felt after I watched The Conversation, which was another Patreon pick.
Well, it's not as good as The Conversation, but not many movies are.
But it was like, what really just happened? It just sort of like feels like it's sort of rambling along for a long time. I don't dislike it, but I'm also like, what did I just really even see, or what are the stakes here? What did I watch? So for everybody that hasn't seen it, I will do a spoiler-free synopsis of what happens. So Bob Hoskins, who I spent the entire movie, maybe this is why I don't know what happened. He is an exact replica of my ex-boyfriend.
Wow, I don't know why you left that guy.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I think about what were you going to say, Tim?
If I could have late 70s Bob Hoskins, I would feel life was complete.
So that's
I
the
would
thing.
be nothing else.
That is my exact take. I was like, Bob Hoskins is getting better with age, for sure. Like, I don't know how I feel about Bob Hoskins though in this movie. He's not. It's not working for me in this movie. But right now, he's peak. Bob Hoskins is peak, I'd say.
Right now Bob Hoskins is dead.
He's dead?
He died some years ago.
What? When? I don't feel like that.
A while ago.
I don't know if this is the same Bob Hoskins, but I think the Bob Hoskins
The
I
same
know.
Bob Hoskins as who?
I don't know. You check into that one, Brennan.
He
Fact check
died
that.
in 2014.
Wow. That's sad. That's very sad.
So if he's peak right now,
That's just
I don't even want to know what you get up to in your private hours, Ms. Jarasinski.
gross and so sad at the same time. So let me tell you. Oh, that is so sad. So Bob Hoskins, I couldn't look away from it. It's like an exact replica. Basically, he's a gangster in this movie, and he has this new deal that's coming. He wants to run this new deal, but then there's a bit of a snafu. People just keep dying. People keep dying everywhere that are a part of his plan or his plot. So it's very inconvenient to him because he needs these people. And so he's then trying to, with his little gang, he runs around and tries to figure out who is setting off these bombs and killing the people that are on his team. He does this with the help of a very young Helen Mirren.
Well, he sure does.
Holy moly. Also very distracted by Helen Mirren, had to Google it, 3 years younger in that movie than I stand today, which then I just reflected on that. And that was very upsetting. Other hot take in this movie. Do you guys know who Paul Freeman is?
Sort of.
He is Belloc. And he jumped off the page. This is a bit of a spoiler. So
for those who don't know who Belloc is, because I wouldn't know by name.
You wouldn't know Belloc by name?
No, I absolutely would not.
Who does everybody knows Belloc by name?
We were just talking about Indiana Jones, though, so I feel you should at least be primed to know who Belloc is.
He is Belloc from Indiana Jones. He's one of the key villains from Indiana Jones that everybody knows. He's in this movie. There's a really interesting plot point here where he's portrayed as a gay man, but it doesn't drive forward any other parts.
That's the part I want to interrogate a bit. Is there an element? Does that have anything to do with the plot? Any of the queer elements within this film, or is it simply is it beloved by the queer community because there's queer representation on screen? I guess in some way. I was really questioning that because I don't feel like they ever talk about that at all in the film itself.
I mean, they don't suppose they do now.
Yeah.
Wait.
Certainly not anything I've heard about. What kind of character is he? Is he a villain? Is he on the good guys team? What's going on?
What? No, you don't even know.
There are multiple scenes where it's the focus is that he's trying to proposition different people. There's a bar scene. And then there's a pool scene with Pierce Brosnan.
Brosnan is in this,
smoking.
A very smoking Pierce Brosnan who lures him in.
He's still smoking.
He's still smoking. True. Is he still alive? Gosh, I don't. Anyway,
Pierce Brosnan. In fact, Pierce Brosnan was in The King's Daughter, the movie that you should take your parents to.
Oh, good. Long story short, Pierce Brosnan lures Belloc in, and then there's some violence that ensues, and.
So we thought that would be some sort of hook to the film,
some sort of connection.
Is this charged, racially charged somehow, or community charged based on that? And then it just doesn't. just not addressed at all. So then I was like, oh, I guess it's just one of these.
It's been a while
things.
for Tim, so I won't put the pressure on you to answer the question, but it felt like an interesting plot point.
What you were looking for is not something that British gangster films do.
You mean
so British gangster films are a thing, and their thing is just to kind of like slice of life hang out, but the people we're hanging out with are gangsters.
100%. That's you described it. It felt like a hangout movie, like a Guy Ritchie, The Gentleman, Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrels movie, except like with no action and no fast-paced dialogue. So it was a bit drawn out.
That's basically what Guy Ritchie brought to the British gangster film. Was like, wouldn't these movies be more fun if they had events?
Yes. And for me, the answer is yes.
I think for me too in this case. It was a little bit boring for me. So again, I walk away from it, Jack, saying I did not hate this movie. It was just fine, but I would never watch it again. And I was kind of sleepy and bored while I was watching it, I would say is my review. I'm so sorry.
So thumb sideways is what I'm hearing.
Thumb sideways. But yes, I appreciate the pick and for sharing this one with us.
Yeah, better or worse than Jungle Cruise?
Oh gosh, same. It's still the same.
All right.
Oh, I'm already priming my 4K player for Jungle Cruise, so you can't ask me that. There are few things as delightful as Jungle Cruise.
Well,
okay.
I will, for my part, Jack. I haven't seen the film in some years, but I dug it at the time. Again, it's British gangster movies are a vibe. British movies in general are really a vibe, especially pre the 1990s. But you get young Bob Hoskins, you get young Helen Mirren. I mean, I have made it very clear that I would walk over broken glass for an image of Helen Mirren. So I'm on board with it, and it's a pretty horny movie. So
yeah, I promise.
Horny movies with young Helen Mirren
describe
are right
it.
up my alley.
I promised Carrie a topless Helen Mirren because I always hear about how she's like topless and everything. Maybe I've got the wrong actress.
Yeah, I was fighting to stay awake because I was like, okay, there's going to be a Helen Mirren boob, and then it never came.
Helen Mirren is all about the nude scenes. This just wasn't one of them.
Oh gosh.
This was one of those she did it for her kids type of movies.
First Helen Mirren boob, Indiana Jones. Rob's just all lies, basically. You're just a house of lies. Ugh.
Well, and I think I can't think of a better place than to end our worth mentioning segment. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Surprise, I'm doing it this time. I'm going to do my best Rob impression.
I'm so excited to see how this goes. I'm expecting great things.
Thank you. All right. On Patreon, you can get early access and exclusive content, make us watch a movie, pick your own episode topic, and more from our Patreon site, much like Harold and Jack, I believe, both of which provided the movies for worth mentioning today. Mm-hmm. Patrons also get an early look. They got an early look at Tim's very popular Eraserhead review. Later this month, we'll have our watch party for all our Razzie and Up Award members. Selection of the movie we'll be watching together is in progress, so keep your eyes peeled, patrons. Also, I want to thank all of our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alternateending.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better, like bringing me on. Since our last episode, here are the things that were purchased. Okay, here's the thing. So I have the list. And obviously Rob really rattles through the full title for everything, but Amazon sellers really love to shove as many keywords as possible into their listings, and it's really infuriating to read. So I might
now you do it. Now you understand. You understand.
Deal with it.
Okay. So
you're being judged right now. I want you to understand that.
I'm taking notes.
I don't know if Rob and Carrie are judging you. I'm taking notes.
I am as well.
So for home products, we have V-Fine Bookends Premium Bookends for Shelves, Metal Bookends Bookshelf Holder Book Stopper for Home Office, Heavy Duty Black Bookend supports one pair computers tablet. One pair.
Was that one item?
That was one item.
Did somebody say ends? You missed that one, Tim. Did someone say ends?
Yeah. The word book is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in this list.
Okay.
There's also under computers, tablets, and components, we have a 10-inch waterproof tablet sleeve case for Samsung Galaxy Tab S5e, S6 10.5/Galaxy Tab A 10.1, Smart Tab 10, M10, P10, 10.1, iPad
Okay,
Pro.
Okay, we get it,
you don't
we get
have
it,
to
we get
use
it.
the
iPad Air.
ones that were there for the like Chinese third-party manufacturers to scoop in as many different tablet users. You can skip those parts.
Brennan, do it the way you were
That's
going to
what
do
I was
it.
saying.
Yeah, do it the way you were going to do it, Brennan, because we're judging a refresh look at this. So you do it how you were going to do it.
Yeah, the better way.
Yes, that way.
Under clothing and accessories, we have women's winter socks. They're for women because they have eyelashes, probably. They're thick wool, soft, warm, casual socks for women. Socks.
Why are there different socks for men and women? Now that Brennan brings that
There
up,
aren't usually.
that's so
I
weird.
mean, yeah, like we more or less have the same shaped feet.
I would guess.
There's a documentary out there about how it's just a marketing thing to charge more for certain things. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's called the pink tax when things are marketed to women and they're identical products, but they're sold for more money.
Yeah, no,
often
it's
because
wild.
they have been painted pink.
Interesting. I'm wondering if I would buy
if
men's
you ever buy
socks,
like a
though,
pink
would I?
hand drill, it's going to cost like 20% more than the gray version of the same hand drill.
Wow. Interesting.
And yeah, gendered products are a really fascinating world. I love reading the copy on the back of any like men's hair care product because it's always like bullet oil for your head.
That's
Right?
true. It works
Yeah,
both ways. That's true.
And it sells Rob. That's why Rob buys it. He's
What do
like,
you mean?
need a
I
bullet head.
buy all feminine products.
Yeah, that's true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
I'm seeing your beautiful feathered hair in the Zoom window right now, so I believe that you probably are spending quite a lot of money on very
Oh, he is
high-end
for
spa
Mhm.
hair products. Last night, I was with my partner, and his mother recently bought him something called a mandel. It's a candle for men.
Dear, what does it smell like? Like mowed
Rust.
grass and
The
Dirt.
name of the smell was Country Bumpkin. Tragically, I was having an unusually bad night of post-COVID can't smell last night, so I don't know what it smells like.
oh no, you'll have to go back to the mandel, sniff the mandel to your heart's content.
I'm sure I will, and I'll also give the candle a smell as well.
Mhm.
But the copy on the I've set Rob up.
And
The copy of on the candle jar was saying things like, "You should put it in your man cave, but don't let your wife smell it." It's like, okay,
Jesus.
Okay. I've said I won't say his name on the air, but X's mother. You know your son's gay, right? Just wanted to make sure that's
Just
and
to
she does, but
clarify.
also
She
like,
does. Okay, good.
like
Yeah, put
I've met
your
her like
mandel.
5 times.
Look, if you're putting your mandel in a man cave, that's not the straightest thing to do.
Hey.
Anyway, outdoor recreation, we have a D2 rotor truing fork, which is the straightest thing I've ever said. I don't know what that is.
What is
None of us know.
fork?
None of us know for sure.
I don't know. Can it tell the future? I'm not sure.
I mean, maybe it can. That'd be pretty cool if you could buy just one of those.
I was
off the
picturing
marketplace.
like the thing that finds water, like that you walk around.
Right.
But
divining rod.
Yeah, divining rod. That's what I was picturing, but I don't think that's what it is.
Probably not, but you never know. But yes, so if you want some really excellent products for men to read and not to buy, check out Duke Cannon. They're usually at Target, my favorite brand to read the back of. But when we get back from our break, we'll be talking a little bit about Peacemaker, a little bit about spring 2022, a little bit about probably Mandels some more. So we'll be right back.
Pass the popcorn. Pass the popcorn.
Okay, so what'd you think, everybody?
What's the score rating out of? Is it out of 10?
I'm going with Olympic style scoring, so a decimal point out of 10. I'm going to go with, I think, an 8.2.
8.2. Rob?
Hey, that's good for a rookie, for an ad read.
Oh, anybody who's willing to walk a mile in my shoes and now can say that they've accomplished it gets a 10 from me. It's not easy. It's like Brendan was saying, there's a lot of words on the page and you're seeing it in the moment and you have to decide what you're going to say, and sometimes it doesn't come to you right away what the actual thing is until like halfway through, and you're like, oh, okay. But you've already said a bunch of words.
Yeah.
So it's
Just like this explanation.
distracting.
Yes, I
Just
understand.
like this explanation.
Well, see, I think I can eke closer to a 10 from Tim because Rob just sent me the ad read material right before the podcast. I think next time I'm going to do there's a little trick. Have you heard of this? It's called editing. I'm going to cut some of the words out so I don't read the weird ones.
Oh.
Mm.
Well, I'm going to straight give you a 12 out of 10.
Thank you.
Because not only am I going back to the ad read, which was a little bit of a disaster, but not on you. It was on us because we were interrupting you. Your lead in to transition to the ad read was just on point. I feel way more compelled to sign up for Patreon and participate in things and know the future. Imagine that. Like, I think you stepped that up a notch, which I'm gonna give you that 12.
Thank you so much.
Well, I'm just gonna say I felt some ums, felt some uhs, and you did at one point take the sex joke before I had a chance to make it. And Rob's always very good about being the straight man to my.
I've
to my
never
vulgar punning.
historically I've not been good at being the straight man.
I mean, that's also a sex joke that I was trying to begin formulating in my brain and just took that one away as well. So I'm not sure how long this is going to last. Is what I'm saying.
I'm a very giving partner. Yeah.
We'll write it out for a little bit.
Okay, no worries. And as far as ums and uhs, I do apologize for my vocabulary being about 95% filler words, but I'm so excited to talk that sometimes the words just happen.
This is an absurd point of feedback considering, number one, this is like the sniff podcast. We've got sniffs all over the place. Rob's like Captain I probably say like 1,000 times. So we're not judging. I'm actually kicking you up to 14 out of 10 because I thought it was excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Tim, are you taking poppers right now?
I'm smelling clove essential oils. As I mentioned right before we went to break, my smelling has been at a low ebb, and I thought to myself, you know what, I should probably do my. So one of the things you do to retrain your smell post-COVID, you can go through a regimen of essential oil huffing, basically, and so I'm doing that right now. And thank you for calling attention to it.
You're welcome. I feel like, you know what? You're so used to having the ball, having the power, putting Carrie and Rob in the hot seat. You don't like the reversal.
I don't like it at all.
I'm personally loving it. I'm like really enjoying listening. And then I'm just sort of sitting back and watching the facial reactions, which is just like it's a movie in of itself. This is a 5-star show, just watching you guys go back and forth.
This is I'm pleased that we've worked out a system where I don't have to be on every episode of Pass the Popcorn, because I think we might come to blows is all I'm saying.
All right. I'll allow you to make that into the sex joke of your choosing if you wish. I'll throw you a bone.
You're just, oh my God. I don't even know, man.
Now he's just it's making it too easy for you. That you can't have that either.
I can't, I don't like it to be easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Speaking of.
So our other option for coming in from the break was that Rob wanted to sing the song from Peacemaker. So Rob, we will cede the floor to you.
And let me set this up too, because I will say if you don't end up watching Peacemaker, which everybody should, this is the James Gunn spinoff from his Suicide Squad. Watch the introduction and then you should be hooked, because that intro is worth James Gunn leans into his jokes. Like, it is the whitest dance I've ever seen in my whole life. Like, if a stiff middle-aged white guy was trying to dance, choreographed this routine, and it is playing to
just love it,
like 80s hair band rock, whatever style music. So the song that it opens up to, I'll do a verse from it, is, do you really want to taste it? What's going up must come down. Do you really want to taste it? Baby, you're losing ground, blind to what you soon become. The mirror lies, the whole world's wrong, but you're dancing with the blinkers on. Throw your dog the invisible bone. Makes no fucking sense. Makes no sense.
You're right.
I like it.
It's so good.
The only difference I'd say is it's probably a little bit more in tune.
Yeah, there's some tunage, and then
well, you were also doing that a cappella though, so that's not even remote.
That was impressive.
Tim, it's rigid dance choreography, and then a lot of like
Thriller,
a lot of like thrusts. No, Thriller is being very generous. There's like a lot of like what are these things called when you do like the
pelvic thrusts?
Pelvic thrusts. A lot of that, and it's just you have the option to skip and just jump right in the episode. I watch it every single time.
And then he laughs and sings every single time. Can you imagine what my life is like right now? Every single time.
I have an inkling.
And not only that, Rob got ahead of me by like 7 episodes. And I was like, I think I'm good on this one. I think I'm going to sit this one out. And then he's like, no, I'm happy to rewatch it with you. Like, let's start over. So
it just, Peacemaker just had its season finale premiere, I believe, this past Friday. And it has taken the world by storm. I believe HBO Max is claiming it's the number 1 watch thing out there. It wouldn't surprise me. It taps into
History.
Yeah, and it taps into my immature humor, and it also leans into making fun of like white racism, but like by bringing like it does a thing that I just really enjoy and sends up like people I don't like it, like, but I could also see a take where if you're that person and you're watching it, you may not realize that you're being made fun of.
Yeah.
And that is
okay. So if
my
you're
humor.
a member of the KKK and you're watching it, you're like, I'm not being made fun of. This show supports me. That's what you're saying.
I feel
yes.
seen.
I feel like this show gets me.
So it really is for everyone.
It is for everyone. Where does everybody lie on James Gunn's work in general, and then specifically the Suicide Squad? Because when this was announced, I had dismissed it 100%. I was like, I don't want to watch a whole show about, like, how are they going to make a whole show just on the Peacemaker character? And it has not disappointed me at all.
I mean, my take on James Gunn is that I think there are diminishing returns there. I loved the first Guardians. It's my favorite Marvel film. But I have been waiting for something since the first Guardians to make me feel like James Gunn is someone who can do more than one thing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I love Slither. I love the first Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Guardians 2, and I like the Suicide Squad, but it is...
I would co-sign that right down to the sort of wobbly second like.
Yeah, it's fine. I like that there's a big starfish. That appeals to me. But Peacemaker, I was not necessarily specifically on board with the thing that Peacemaker is. I watched the first 15 minutes of the show. So the intro, does it amuse? It's amusing to see the bad dancing, I hear.
But it's so in sync. Like, that's the funny thing about it. Like, so I don't even want to say this out loud. I've never even admitted this to Rob, but like, I also really like the intro. Like, I don't want to give him that satisfaction, but it is so like well choreographed in terms of how in sync so many people come in. Like, there's probably like 20 plus people, and they're so in sync. And there's the humor in it for me is I love when people are doing something absurd and they're incredibly serious. So like, they're all doing this dance and their faces are just so committed. It's the commitment. But you're doing something so ridiculous, and that juxtaposition of those two things, like, I get the giggles every time I watch it too. And I don't want to even say that out loud because that I can tell is giving Rob satisfaction for the show.
I get why you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So have you, Carrie, seen the work of Buster Keaton?
Give me some things that he's done.
Sherlock Jr., The General, Steamboat Bill Jr.,
No.
Silent Comedian. Because I'm just curious if this is that kind of vibe, because he's very, very like serious face while he's doing absurd things.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I wanted to get you on record saying that you thought that Peacemaker was better than Buster Keaton.
I wouldn't lie. I'll check it out and then I'll let you know for sure. But I wanted to hate this show, like, just out of some sort of, I don't know why. That's probably not a healthy relationship thing. Like, I just want, because Rob was just putting so much pressure on me to watch it, and I'm just resistant to that, like being asked to do anything.
I totally get that.
Yeah. Then I'm like, no, I don't want to do it if you're telling me to do it. So, but then I got into it, and John Cena in it, I didn't have any expectations at all of him, and he is actually really solid. And then Brennan, I don't know if this is going to be a compliment or not, but every time, do you know who Freddie Stroma is?
I do know who Freddie Stroma is.
I do not know who Freddie Stroma is.
What does he play, Rob?
He plays Vigilante. Is that Vigilante?
Vigilante.
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddie Stroma, you will know this for sure. He played Cormac McLagan in the later Harry Potter movies, and he also played the DJ guy who runs the booth where Anna Kendrick works in Pitch Perfect.
I didn't know that. He reminds me of you.
I appreciate that.
Is that a good?
Ripped as fuck.
I would
is that
take
a
that.
compliment? Okay, good. I wasn't sure. Like, I don't follow him in any sort of other way, so I don't know if that's good or bad. But every time I see him, like, and even his like sense of humor reminds me of you, of just sort of like he delivers or says something, and again he's just really serious, and then you do the like, oh, that was a joke, or like, oh, you wait, like it's just like such like a dry sense of humor, but it's so funny, and he is the best part of the show for me. Like his sense of humor, his action, just his whole general personality is just, it's like magnetic. I don't know. I just want to see more of him during these episodes. Which again, I hate admitting all of this, that I'm kind of into the show too now.
Just renewed for season 2, so we're going to be getting more of it. But yeah, I just wanted to at least, because I tried dropping it in our Discord. Nobody took the bait. I wanted to have like some solidarity there, and then nobody seemed interested in talking to me about it.
I feel like our Discord uniquely, it's like our site sort of is a black hole that has a gravitational attraction for people who don't like superhero media, and our Discord is like the refined, boiled down version of that to the people who just goddamn hate superhero media.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that you were trying to chum the waters where there were no sharks.
This is
True.
anti-superhero though, in a lot of ways. But anyway, I've come off my platform.
I would say alt superhero versus anti. So it's still doing that thing.
I mean, to me, something like Mike Leigh's Vera Drake is an anti-superhero movie.
Yes. Great stuff.
Good stuff. Can I ask you guys one other
A
question?
joke that would play well on the Discord.
That's,
Exactly. There you go.
because it didn't make any sense to
I
me,
have
so
no
I'm
idea what you're
sure I don't know what you're
talking
talking about.
about.
So I'm sure it would. This is like a relationship question. So I will say the one thing about Peacemaker that I don't like is that it spawns or spurs, I don't know what word I want to use here, the worst thing about Rob. And so tell me, I'm going to tell you what it is, and then tell
Does
me.
he whistle through his nose when he laughs?
I can though.
Gosh,
Oh,
yeah,
how do you know that?
because he has those wispy boogers. Like,
No, I have like
Oh my lord.
my nasal passage is
Crooked.
is in such a way that yes, it does create a whistle.
Too much blow in college.
yeah. It does have a whistle. Anyway, not that he does have a whistle, but that's not the point of the annoying part. So I know one of you guys and your partner is this person probably. So just tell me who's who in this situation. But this is what happens. So Rob's sitting there working, we're watching the show, and I am intently watching the show, and I'm sitting there and I'm focused on it. And then I lean over to like look at my phone or do something. Rob immediately, like, even though he's multitasking, looks over at me. Did you hear the joke? You missed the best part of this entire show just now when you looked at your phone for that 1 second. And he'll pause it, rewind, and he's like, there's a whole bit. This is the best part of the show. So then we have to like rewatch parts of the episode if I've distracted at any moment. Or he's like, if I don't laugh at something that he deems super funny, he's like, did you catch it? And then he replays the joke. So he'll stop it and then he'll tell me the joke. And if I'm still not laughing, he's like, well, clearly you just didn't get it. So it takes us like 3 hours to get through an episode because if I don't properly appreciate what I'm watching, then I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, so James Gunn has some fast-paced writing style. Like the dialogue is typically like he's very specific in his jokes in comedy, and it's very verbose. So like, yeah, you can miss like fun gags, and kind of a gag.
okay.
A gag throughout is that he mocks, like, people keep bringing up better superheroes than Peacemaker, which there are many. And every time someone brings up, he reasserts something he may have read like off of Google, like Aquaman fucks fish kind of type things. But there's like a Green Arrow one, Tim, that you would appreciate. They're like, we should call in Green Arrow. And he says something to the effect of like, Green Arrow, that guy, he shows up to Halloween or to Brony conventions in a Twilight Sparkle with the back end of a Twilight Sparkle costume with 4-inch holes cut out. And then Freddie Strummer's character says, well, maybe that's just for breathing. Maybe it's just for breathing. Sorry. It's just good. It's just good stuff.
This is a prime example of what I experienced. This is it.
I feel so sorry for you, Carrie. And I wish I could give you a big hug and a cup of cocoa right now. Because I feel like I'm having a stroke listening to Rob talking.
I am doing full Macaulay Culkin Home Alone face, hands to cheeks.
It's horrifying.
I would say that is definitely the more sophomoric side of James Gunn's humor, and there is definitely an avenue for that, and I'm glad that people have that. and I don't even dislike. Okay, so I did watch the first 15 minutes of Peacemaker, the first episode. And first of all, look, it takes a lot of work to get me into an 45-minute or hour-long show, just because I don't have that much time in my life. And this show did a couple things that just kind of threw me out of it immediately. First of all, a lot of shows are having issues with characters who are cops or part of the military because there's a lot of political controversies around these groups lately. I mean, specifically cops, but I have seen multiple shows recently try to woke up their cop character by making the cop a black lesbian and saying, look, we did it. Diversity. And so I think Leota Adebayo, I think that's the character's name.
Yes. My least favorite part of just because I feel bad for the actress is a bit she's from Orange is the New Black. I feel like she's a bit like out of her element in this one. But yes, I
don't think she's out of her element. I just think the way that they've scripted, I don't know, the writing on her is just a little bit different. So like while I'm getting like John Cena and Freddie's character and other people have this like really tight banter, I feel like that's just not her style to be this like really quippy, tight, like back and forth. So sometimes her exchanges end up feeling a little bit less cohesive, I think, than some of the other ones. But I think she's good. I just don't know if it's like the best fit. But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's just like that specific trope is really rankling with me lately because I think it is in no way solving the actual problem that they're trying to solve.
Yep.
And if anything, creating more problems. And so here's the thing. I can enjoy myself through any show if the main dude gets naked a lot. And John Cena loves to do that. And that's very exciting in concept. But there is something about whatever process he uses to obtain his muscle that has really in the last year highlighted this one giant vein across his
Carrie
chest.
had the same.
Oh, yes.
That makes me want to throw up.
Same.
I do not like veins.
I do not like veins either. I can't even saying the word vein. My legs went numb when you said that using the V word.
She specifically called out that one over the exact one you're describing.
I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. It set my gag reflex off. I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. And Rob's like, just look away. And I was like, well, tell me when the V is gone. And so then we did that just like you would with like any other like scary scene. I was like, okay, tell me when it's over. Tell me when it's over.
I love that. I hope that's real. I hope that's not you just doing a bit. I hope that's actually what happened.
This is actually what happened. And
I'm pleased.
I love that you were equally horrified by it because I'm like, maybe I'm the only weirdo that's like really creeped out by that. But yeah, it was so pronounced. Oh,
yeah. And this is, I guess, as far away from body shaming as possible because he has a great body and whatever, but just I cannot handle thinking about blood pumping through people's bodies.
Same.
It's a thing that really just freaks me out too much.
100% agree. 100% agree.
I feel like that's something I want to interrogate on a future Bride of AE because that seems like a very weird thing for someone who likes slasher movies to say.
I just sent you the picture, Tim. Feel free to take a peek. See if it's disturbing to you as well.
Tim loves
veins. I don't have this particular problem, so I doubt that I will find it offensive, but I am taking a look at it.
You will.
Thank you for.
So yeah.
It was just a thing. I mean, I think maybe for me, the idea of slasher villains freeing the blood from the body, like it's liberating,
I see.
No, because
so you're saying you don't like it because you see the cage in which the blood is being prisoned within the human body.
Essentially. We can interrogate that further later, but I'm not a bulgy, veiny kind of person, and I've never seen that vein so pronounced on any human being.
I will say two things. One, now that I'm looking at the picture, the vein looks weird. There's no two ways about it. It's a weird looking vein.
This is going to be one of those situations where a fan writes in and he gets a cancer screening and saves John Cena's life.
That would be, that actually just happened with a hockey player a couple weeks ago, apparently. Some person in the stands saw that he had a weird black spot, or a hockey coach, I think. He had some sort of weird spot on the back of his neck that turned out to be skin cancer. And a fan got his attention during a game. But so two things. One, yes, the vein is weird. Two, if a gentleman who looked like that invited me back to his home for drinks, I would not say no.
I think you would. I don't know.
I don't think I would.
Really? Because I feel like you're more into, I feel like he's a bit bulkier than I've noticed your taste.
Well, that's true. But John Cena is also funny, so he's funny.
Good sense of humor.
Buff.
Yeah, that works for me too.
I mean, if it was Vin Diesel, I'd be like, no, fuck you, Vin Diesel. You are a shitty actor. But John Cena, I think is perhaps the best comic of all the wrestlers turned actors.
I agree.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yeah, and look, I would take him home too, but I'd apply like a poultice to his right pec or something.
What if you just like sort of, when you take your shirt off and it gets kind of like trapped, like right before it goes over your head. So you just kind of
get him a crop top.
Get him a crop top. Yeah, that's what we would do if John Cena wanted to go home with any of us. A crop top. We'll suggest that next time. So
to John Cena when he wants to fuck us.
Exactly. I think it makes sense. So that's Peacemaker. I don't think we have anything else to say on it, but I'm kind of excited for season 2, which I again hate to admit.
Yeah, I will most likely put it on the same part of my computer now that it's done airing, where I have all those Marvel shows living in the folder, literally marked TV shows I don't really want to watch. So, but I will get to it before I get to Falcon and Winter Soldier. I bet that much.
Yeah, you'll put it in a purgatory.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my God, Falcon and Winter Soldier, the only show that we covered on a worthy binge, and it was not.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
It was an unworthy binge.
Yeah, that was a mistake to select that. Like Peacemaker would have been at least a fun discussion. So of the TV that's out there in the superhero realm, I would say this reigns supreme for me.
All right, great. And also, oh my God, do not watch Book of Boba Fett. That's such a fundamentally broken show, like to a dazzling
Guess
degree.
what's already in the TV I don't really want to watch folder?
Oh my God. Yep, that's where it belongs.
I trucked through both seasons of The Mandalorian. I'm going to truck through Boba Fett.
But The Mandalorian is good.
Is it?
Not season 2, not so much.
Season 2, not so much. Season 1's good. Season 2 is fan servicing.
Yeah. But yeah, oh my God. Well, actually, Tim, I need you to watch Boba Fett so we can talk about it just personally, because I need to exercise some demons about Boba Fett. But this episode has gone so long, so I think maybe we shouldn't do any sort of spring preview. But if you have a title you want to throw out that you're excited for, we can do that.
Okay.
All right, I'll go first, and it's AE related because we are lucky enough to be able to be hosting a screening of the 3-hour long. I wish it was shorter. The Batman. We're going to be hosting that on March 2nd. So we're excited to bring some people are like flying in from overseas.
We have at least one person coming in from Europe to see this with us, which is a lot. Thank you.
Overwhelmed by that. And I want to just lay out something that's super awkward in advance. Like, that's uncomfortable for me that somebody would come so far, in a good way of being uncomfortable. But I feel like we need to make a meal. Like, I feel like this is like somebody's coming to visit.
Well, we're going to a dine-in movie theater, so
but I feel like I need to
provided.
extend it. It's not enough time. Like, so I feel like, what do I have to do to make it feel whole to me? And I think that's a cheese board or something. I need a cheese plate.
It is Wisconsin. We should curate a nice selection of fried and unfried cheeses.
I'm going to do that.
Our state guests.
I also think the Batman will deliver.
Yeah.
But even if it doesn't, I'm expecting a very memorable experience being with
people. People are all driving in from Chicago. People are coming from all over the place. I'm super overwhelmed. I also want to ask you guys a question. I just want to poll the audience, tiny poll just right here. Where do you think I should go on the hug spectrum for people? Do you hug people? Is that okay?
You just ask before you touch them.
Before you hug somebody. Okay, because I feel like I'm gonna make it weird. I guess that's where I'm going. Is I feel like I'm gonna make this whole situation weird, and I don't want to do that.
I'm eager to see how weird it gets.
But I'm also very excited. So I'm really excited for everybody that's coming in and get to have a little bit of normalcy and see everybody in the beginning of March.
Yes, so that's Rob's pick, I guess, for spring.
That's me.
All right, Carrie, is there a movie you're excited for, like, March, April, sort of May territory?
Honestly, it's the same one. I think that's the one. Like, we keep seeing the previews. I'm not usually a Batman person. As you know, I've mentioned Superman is superior, but I don't know. Something about it feels kind of dark and grimy. And I was more, I think, up on Joker than anybody for whatever reason, which feels weird, but it feels a little Jokerish to me in that sort of like dark, grimy, like exploring the character a little bit more. So if it goes that way, and I love Catwoman, I'm always up. Like, is she good, bad? I don't know. Like, will she be? So I'm just excited about Batman 2 and seeing it, or Batman in addition, the first Batman,
Yes.
as well. The Batman, just with everybody. So
that must be where the from Texas Chainsaw Massacre ended up.
Yeah, it's an exchange program.
Yes. I will say, when we were going to do a full on top 5 episode back in January for spring previews, I had a hard time coming up with 5. Batman was on that list, although I really wish it wasn't 3 hours long. Like that is a huge boner killer for me. That is 3 hours long. Still looking forward to it. It is Batman. Batman, I think, has a very high hit rate at the movies. But I'm gonna go someplace else for my film that I'm most excited about. Probably won't come as any surprise to anybody who remembers my just crazy over the top response to The Lighthouse. But I'm really, really looking forward to The Northmen, which is the new film by Robert Eggers. His first not horror film, or at least it appears to not be a horror film. It appears to be a grand historical epic about a Viking family and sort of a Viking son getting revenge for his murdered father, with a cast including Alexander Skarsgård and Nicole Kidman and a few other people. Willem Dafoe's in it, Anya Taylor-Joy. So I mean, Robert Eggers gets me in the door, and that's pretty much what I needed. So.
I was going to guess it was a coin flip between that and another movie, and I want to take Brennan's in case it is, but it comes out that same weekend.
Oh, it's not. What was the other movie?
It's The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Oh,
that looks too self-conscious.
Too much.
For me.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks so desperately unfunny, even though the concept is cute.
It looks like the Nick Cage version of JCVD, and JCVD worked in part because who in God's name knew that Jean-Claude Van Damme had that in him. We all know that Nick Cage has that in him, so it doesn't feel as shocking. Is sort of where I'm at.
Yeah. For me, looking at this spring, I mean, it's kind of a grim spring overall. It's a little bit of a grim movie year so far. I am, in a qualified way, excited for the movie The Lost City, though, with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
I am also excited for that in a qualified way.
So is my mom, which is exciting.
I too am excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, maybe if the Batman goes well, we should rent out a screening room to do an AE party for The Lost City.
Yeah, I'm a big fan.
That would be great.
I don't know, Brennan. Are you a big fan of Romancing the Stone, like the whole Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner era of the two of them doing stuff together?
I have not seen either of those films. They were not really in the conversation when I came to cinema. And I have not caught up with them.
Okay. It's same concept.
The Jewel of the Nile is horse shit, so
Yes.
so don't ever catch up with it. But Romancing the Stone is very charming.
Yeah, same thing. Same concept as author turned real life
Identical
adventure.
concept.
Yeah. So hey, Tim, you might have some work to do in advance of that movie, probably, huh? Doing a little bit of a retrospective on those.
We already got a review of Romancing the Stone.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and speaking of retrospective, I am not excited for Blumhouse's Firestarter, but I am excited that it's going to lead me to watch Firestarter, the original, and Firestarter 2 Rekindled, which I have never seen.
Amen to both of those things.
Now is that a TV show? Oh no, it's a
it's a movie.
It's oh yeah, you're right. Early May. I didn't go that far.
Yeah, to me, the first movie of summer is Doctor Strange 2, so that is where I cut off my spring anticipation. But
no, that's the way to do it. But really, if we're being honest, the only films that I'm excited for are both just in pre-production: Scream 6 and Paddington 3. And no other movies matter, but I'll watch them.
Hopefully, they will be at some point crossed over into one franchise, and then it'll save me
hope so.
The stress of having to care about two things.
Exactly. It's too much. I don't have that much room in my heart. Anyway, this has been an extra long episode of Pass the Popcorn. I'm so glad to have you all on for my first real official. I mean, the Oscar one was just wild. But yeah, I'll try to, get practice, kind of trim it down a little bit. We'll see where we get. But thank you so much, everybody, for listening. I hope you had a good time. You can find all of Tim's reviews and my reviews and all these thoughts and more at alternateending.com. Follow us on Twitter where we're tweeting all the time. Follow us on Instagram where we're Instagramming all the time. There's a Facebook page too. All those links will be in the show notes. So just look there if you want to follow us anywhere. I don't know.
I think I'm gonna go with a 6.5 on the outro. I always look forward to Rob saying Twitter where we're tweeting all the time. It's kind of ASMR for me, and he kind of rushed it.
Well, but Rob says it so fast. I need to hit his tempo though.
Maybe it's just like the timbre of his voice. Then I'm not sure.
Rob, you want to say it?
Twitter where we're tweeting all the time.
Ooh, I got chills on that one.
I'd warmed up my voice
okay.
earlier from the song, so that's what did it.
Oh, and we can fade out on you singing that Peacemaker song again if you want.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'll sing it with you.
Sure. Do you want to? Do you really want to taste it?
Okay, no, it's over.
Hey, we got
fade-
lag.
and
We
fade
got
to black,
lag.
fade to
Wonderful.
black.
Pass the popcorn. Pass the popcorn.
Do you happen to still have the
Beautiful.
mold from the dildo that you made? You could make a candle out of the mold.
No, that mold was not designed to live very long.
I see.
Unfortunately.
That's too
So
bad.
The mold is long gone.
That's a
It
good
is.
product though. If it deteriorates, so you have to buy it again. That makes sense.
Well, I think the idea is that if you inadvertently get some of it in your sink drain, you do not want to clog up your sink drain with plaster, so it degrades after a day or two.
By
Understood.
sink drain, do you mean urethra?
I mean, however
I
you like
just
it, baby.
realized that. Oh yeah.
Anyway,
what happens
we-
if it were to get in there?
What?
Could
what
the
are you
plaster
talking
get
about?
lodged in
Well, for example, are we talking about actual sink drains or urethras right now?
urethras?
I did not have an issue with that,
Interesting.
That's very good.
That's good to know.
Your urethral integrity is tight.
but it did end up in the sink when I was trying to wash it off of myself
Your urethra?
and other parts of me.
Just kidding.
Okay, let's get back into this
Back to
show.
the
I might
episode.
edit in some of this conversation.
You don't.
just
Yeah,
into
please
the-
don't.
Always.
Please don't.
No.
Please don't. I
Please don't.